again to the Milset World Virtual Young Citizens Conferences 2020. The International Movement for Leisure Activities in Science and Technology, Milset, presents this program to hear the concerns, proposals, and opinions of young people from all over the world regarding science and technology issues that affect humanity. Today, we will hear our YCC ambassadors. We are very excited to hear them. They are the oldest ambassadors in this debate program. And we will hear about medical science and medicine. We're sure their proposals will help us to invent a new and better world. My name is Liz Vela, Milset Communication Manager. Thanks for watching. We will be streaming live from Facebook, Milset Facebook, and Milset YouTube channel. I want to thank you, our authorities, for all the support to this program, to the Milset to the Milset Executive Committee, to the Milset Honorary President, to Milset Regional Executive Committees, to Milset YCC Committee, Milset members, and of course the audience that is watching. Thank you one more time. And now I will give the mic to Mr. Dries Loradi, our Milset Africa President. Thank you, Dries. The mic is yours. Your mic on, please, Dries.
Thanks, Liz. It's okay. First, I would like, on behalf of Milset, welcome warmly our ambassadors from Palestinian territories. Assalamu alaikum from Mexico and Colombia. Hola from Indonesia. We say hello. Welcome to audience from all around the world. Today, our debates session is focused on the role of science and medicine. Thanks to science and medicine, the life expectancy keeps growing. 25 years in the Middle Age, 40 years in the 19th centuries, 80 years in 2016. But science has its limits. When humans transgress the laws of nature, viruses cross the species barrier and cause uncontrollable pandemics, which causes chaos. In COVID-19 era, this topic is really at the heart of the daily life of 8 billion of humans. The health, economic, and social damage created by these pandemics are enormous, unprecedented, and sometimes irreversible. Our planet is extraordinarily resilient, but until when? How to act to avoid the disaster scenario? This answer and the future of humanity is in your hands. For this reason, you and the future generation have huge challenge to take up. Put science and medicine at the service of humanity by imagining a model of harmonious, sustainable development and respecting the laws of nature. I'm sure that you, with your collective intelligence, you will invent this new world. Thank you for your listening. Dear Liz, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Dries. Now it's time to introduce our participants. We'll start with, say hi, Juan Martinez from Mexico.
Hi, it's a pleasure
Pedro
to be with
Fernando
you.
Salgado from Colombia. Say hi, Pedro.
Hello there. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Rizka Kurniwati from Indonesia.
Hello, good night from Indonesia.
Jan Septiwati from Indonesia too.
Hi, it's such an honor for me Nice to hear.
Thank you, dear. Najla Abu, sorry for my pronunciation, Abuyama from Palestine territories.
Hi, from Gaza specifically.
Thank you, dear. Okay, well, to everybody, to the audience, I will just give the general rules of this debate session. First, we will follow the YCC three-step methodology. That's what you will watch. We will start with the concerns, then follow discussion and actions. During concerns, we will hear 3 facts from science and medicine. After that, our participants, our YCC ambassadors, will have the section of discussion. They will debate and find some solutions. And finally, in the actions, they will have some time. We will go out they will go out from the streaming. We will remain in, and they will think about some actions according to what they have discussed, and present these proposals to the audience. And well, finally, I will like to present Mrs. Bere Suarez, Milset Managing Director. She will moderate this debate session. Bere, the mic is yours.
Thanks so much, Liz, and thank you all of you guys for being here, for accepting the challenge of inventing a new world with your knowledge, with your opinions, and with this amazing activity. Thanks also to the audience that in this moment is watching us. So we will start with this concern section, and I will share with you some facts and to all of our audience. So we will start with the one that says, based on Baker's Hospital Review.com, the needs for technology and digital capabilities accelerated during the COVID-19 pandemic, underscoring the importance of data and virtual monitoring to care for all patients, while hospitals are focused on patients with the virus. According to this, there are significant advances in healthcare technology during these months. Some of them are the ones related on the predictive analytics, and that related on it is because spikes on COVID-19 cases has the potential to overwhelm hospitals and create drugs and equipment shortages. Healthcare professionals have piloted innovative ways to predict the location and severity of oncoming increases in COVID-19 cases. And such an example is the Cleveland Clinic's COVID-19 risk calculator, that makes predictions based on patients' age, race, gender, socioeconomic status, vaccination history, and current medicines that they are taking. Another point, just to mention some of them, is a digital front door. So now we are living in an area where the digital front door includes the health system website and a mobile app, and often has functions such as patient portal, scheduling telehealth visits, and patient educations, just to mention one of them. But also we have another facts related on other topics. Yesterday we talked a little bit more about this, but I want to be a little bit deeper with you. According with mentalhealth.org, one of the most significant public health measures implemented during the COVID-19 pandemic has been extended periods of lockdown, where whole population have been advised to remain in their households other than to collect necessary supplies to take care of others or to exercise. A study from India during the COVID-19 pandemic, the stress score for post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, were reported by parents to be 4 times higher in children quarantine than those not quarantined. In this case, criteria for PTSD was met by 30% of quarantined children. And further studies conducted in China find that young people reported increased depressive symptoms and anxiety symptoms and can experience negative psychological consequences as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. And finally, as everything is linked, and also this pandemic is affecting not only the health, but also the health issues has affected the economy and the making decisions. So according to the UN Nations, the contribution of science, technology, and innovation in the face of COVID-19 crisis can be seen in several areas. First, in research and development to understand the disease and its effects on the population, as well as for the vaccines and medication. Second, in the management of critical supplies and equipment, such as diagnostic tests, mechanical ventilators, and the development of applications for tracking and prevention. And third, in the economic recovery, with the development of digital platforms for health, education, and work for distance, and technological transfers and industrial recovery, but making these statements due to what science is informing us. So based on this information, I would like to start making some questions in order to be ready and to have your opinions and hear your voices. So the first question, and is something important, is do we have enough information that is reliable about the virus by our doctors, by our scientists, and also by the government? Could you start, Pedro?
Thank you. We have reliable information, in my opinion, in case we are facing these new pandemics.
Pedro, sorry, my dear. I think that we have a little problems with your connection, with your internet. If you want to check it, I will come back to you as soon as you give me the point. So,
okay, absolutely.
Okay, thanks so much. Could you share with us your comments, Juan?
Sure. Well, according to that question, I think that science is always vulnerable to some bad or misinformed information published in all the media. For example, at the beginning of the pandemic, many of the researchers were so excited about to share their data about COVID-19, but many of this information has to be reviewed as a normal process of science of publication. So what we see at the beginning of the pandemic was that many research or many publication was so early, and there was no time to review them all, and they were published so fastly, so we cannot actually trust in all the information. But as soon as we realize about this problem, we continue to do some more information, to do some more research about the information that was being presented, and the structure and the information was more clean, was more secure about what we were presenting. So by now, 6 or 8 months before that happens, I think that we have enough information to know what the virus is, to know what it can cause, and what can we do to prevent this kind of situation about the pandemic. We can trust our scientists. I will not give political views because I'm not so political, but we can trust 100% in our scientists, because it's a normal process in science that if something is not true, it not be durable in the meantime that we are presenting that information.
Okay, thanks so much. But what do you think, Nashla?
I think we don't have enough information about COVID-19 until now, because there's many examples. If we're talking about how deadly the virus is, we don't know exactly what is the exact number of infected cases to calculate the rate of death. So this point, the how deadly the virus is not known until now. Another point in this area is what is the risk factor that affect the virus and the virulence factor of the virus. For example, we know there is multiple researchers that talk about patients who has low immunity, patients who had chronic diseases are most common to have the disease or to be attacked by COVID-19. And another way, we also found healthy youth people also affected with COVID-19 and to die. So what is the exact risk factor? Maybe the virus has mutation that may alternate its virulence factor. I think there is many area of debate on this area. Another thing, what is the exact management? Until now, we don't know what is the exact management for the virus. Does the vaccine has also if vaccine release, does the vaccine has its effect or not? So okay, there is some areas are well covered, but on other hand, there is another area that a lot of question marks on it.
Okay, so you think the same as Juan, that until now we have more information, but there is some information pending or missing to take decisions, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so what do you think, Pedro? Okay, my dear. I think that we're still having problems with your connection, my dear. It's so sad. Could you hear us?
Okay. I agree with them. We do not have enough information still. Specifically in immunology, we have seen of reinfections, and I think this is because we have seen infections even 3 times, 3 reinfections, and I think this is a time for vaccinations because we do not know for how long will it last. So I think the biggest challenge and the biggest concern we have now in terms of science about the knowledge of the virus is the reinfection. Thank you.
Okay. Well, it's important. Just some of the points that you mentioned. What do you think, Rishka? Do you agree on what Juan and Nashla and also Pedro has mentioned?
In my opinion, the existing information about the coronavirus for now is quite reliable, even though in fact there are still many things about this virus that still need to be studied more deeply through research. For the example about the last strains, types of mutations, and the others more. But there is a lot of updated information for now, in my opinion. During a pandemic like this, we inevitable have to dig up as much information as possible to find a solution in the form of vaccine. Actually, there has been research conduct in Indonesia regarding this virus, but perhaps in terms of technology is not as advanced as the Western countries. So the research has not had a significant impact. But one of the reliable research of information about the coronavirus, in my opinion, at this time is the NCBI website, that is National Center of Biotechnology Information, because there are lots of papers containing research from around the world with the latest updates. However, behind that, it's possible that we as academic and millennial can find out the latest information via the internet about this virus, but it's not certain that the general public knows that the characteristic of this virus actually look like. For the example, in Indonesia, there are anti-corona necklace that are believed to be able to cure corona. But there are still many questions that arise regarding the truth, even though what we know is that virus can only be defeated with vaccines. In Indonesia, hoax that are not true related to corona often spread disease because the public has not found reliable information for now
Okay.
about the coronavirus. Thank you.
So it's a matter of having the information, having the information reliable of the virus, but not sharing by the people, by the government, by the society. What do you think, Diane?
Yes, I personally agree that we have the reliable information from the doctors and the scientists, and information about viruses today is very good because it is started by science. So, and science has led scientists to research and produce a wide variety of important about viruses. And the public is convinced of the validity of the virus information because the science or research community has expertise in filtering information from the side of quality and relevance. And but just there is a problem on tracking the patients of COVID-19. So what I saw in my community, there's some cases that there's an individual patients, like if they know there is a strict protocol, uh, there's a strict quarantine or health protocol, they may not want to go for healthcare because they are afraid of medical system and or they do not want to be separate from their families and their friends. So I think that this dishonesty behavior may lead to the health workers and the scientists cannot tracking all of the patients that infected of the COVID-19. And I guess another problem is there are a lot of information and like crazy rumors has spread in the social media circulation right now. And I think that the ability to filter the information is also vital for us. And if we'd like to get the reliable information, I think it's better to look for the reputable organizations information, for instance, like the World Health Organization. And however, I know that not all people can filter information well, but so this will be a duty for health workers, especially for public health professionals that move in health promotion to empower communities regarding about the information of COVID-19. Thank you.
Amazing, Diane. Yeah. So based on all the information that you shared, I think, or I'm pretty sure that all of you have the same sense and the same opinion. So if it is not problem about the reliable information, because as you mentioned, we have a lot and enough information, I would like to ask a question. So the problem is not the information, or is a matter of processing this information from the society? So the question is, as we as a society prepared to receive, to analyze and discern scientific information related on the virus or to other situations, because it's not just related on this virus, it's about scientific information to improve health decision making or another making decision making, please? Could we start with you, Rizka?
Okay. In my opinion, like it or not, and ready or not, we must be ready to accept and understand new information or scientific information about this coronavirus. Maybe that is right information to us, but in my opinion, knowing and understanding this information is absolutely necessary to safeguard our common safety and avoid misunderstandings in applying various habits or behaviors that can increase the risks of getting this coronavirus. Thank you.
Okay, what about you, Diane?
Thank you, ma'am. Yes. Although I think that it may be hard for some communities, especially for developing country like Indonesia, whereas the communities are still lack in terms of education. To tackle this problem, I guess I think that the scientists need to collaborate with some sectors and also the government to receive reliable scientific information. Thank you.
Okay. And what about you, Juan?
I think, and I agree with Rizky and Diane, we are kind of ready to accept that information, but inclusive, we have the channels to receive that information. I mean, in countries like, in developmental countries like Mexico, we have radio, we have television, we have internet, we have inclusive press that actually they share the information by this channel. But the problem is that we have a lot of information sometimes that we don't know how to process that information. If that information is actually is trust, we cannot actually tell if that information is going from, for example, a scientific report or something that someone saw on TV and they want to share more with the public. So many of these countries, inclusive when they are not developmental countries, trust very much in the government. And trusting the government is not a bad thing, but we also have to have something extra to confirm that information. For example, in the US, in Mexico, in Brazil, the presidents are still not believing in the pandemic as we see it right now in science. It's something that we should take care. That is something that is clear. But this president sometimes forgot that the people is listening to them first instead of the scientific, for example, community. So that is something that we have to take in mind when we are still wondering why the people is not believing that there is a pandemic out there. And a short answer with that, it will be that we sometimes are not ready for that information. And when we are ready for that information, sometimes we don't want to accept it because someone behind us is not believing as well.
Okay, so based on this, on your comment, what we can infer or what you are inferring is everything depends on to discern if the information is real or is fake or what is based on. So how can we, as a society, normal person, maybe not with a lot of studies, or at least communities that are far away from the capital or some places, how all of us can we discern and how can we know which information is real, which information is not real? So what do you think, Pedro?
Hello, I hope you can hear me better now. Can you hear me better now?
Perfect.
Thank you. Okay, yes, first of all, I do agree with all of them in the fact that we do not have all the means to let people know. First of all, because some countries have more means to let people know about this than others. And besides that, some people in all the countries are skeptical. We have seen in the news skeptical people not wearing masks, not washing their hands, because they think this is all something that is not real. And as Juan said, in Latin America, I live in some politicals saying that it is not true. So I think that the best way to tackle this issue is to having better representation in the political field. I think that good people with knowledge about the area spreading this information. And I think this is when I ask your question, how can we know which information is reliable and which are not? I think it is following the biggest companies. For example, the World Health Organization, we should be paying attention to this figures that have knowledge in the area and not trusting everything we see on social media, especially because we have social media. Everyone has access to vulnerable to receive fake information. So I think we institute.
Okay, Pedro, thanks so much. What do you think, Nashla? Do you agree with Pedro about that this kind of following the corresponding organization that are leading this pandemic follow-up is the way to avoid fake news, or there is another way?
I'm agree with Brito in this area. I think there is even personal initiative or a company can prepare a website that are its specialty is to provide the reliable information, evidence-based information to the community with all languages. Even if we can't do this with all languages, at least each country can go and make its website, and provide it with reliable information, with some videos that facilitate understanding by population. If I want to mention an example, there is a platform in Palestine that are prepared by a personal initiative medical student who do a website for evidence-based medical essay in Arabic language for a community, for a general population that aims to aware people for the real information and not to depend only on the social media, Facebook, YouTube. We all knows that this information not in every time are reliable. So my opinion, at least every country or every same language people who talk the same language do a platform and an own platform to prepare medical essays or animation video for the population.
Okay. Diane, do you have another proposal about it? Or do you think the same?
I do think the same like my peers. Well, yeah, I'd like to mention the facts that happen in my communities also. Well, there's a lot of conspiracy theory right now of the reliability of COVID-19. You know that there are plenty of people that do not believe on COVID-19, and it leads to their behavior. They tend to not implement the health protocol anymore, or the public health protocol anymore, and it caused the increasing of patients of COVID-19 and also the increasing of death rates. So distortion of information into false information or hoax are really become something that is challenging, I think, for scientists to deal with. The research community is obliged to be vigilant and vocal in preventing the spread of misinformation that will influence people's perceptions and lead to doubts about science and rejections of information. So I think the scientists needs to become more transparent. Needs to needs to lead this kind of problem to the great way. Thank you.
Perfect. So I saw that Juan wants to add something. Is your time?
Yes, thank you. And I agree with Diane about the conspiracy theories. There are a lot, and many of them are guilty, the scientists, for creating the virus. But that is actually not true. and the thing that we can do, or something that we can do to know if the information that we have is real or not, in a scientific information or a scientist like us training, is enhance or promote the scientific divulgation from all the people, because we sometimes have the opportunity to present our results with our own community, going to some congress and going to some events when you can present your data. But when this becomes something more deeper, when you have the opportunity to share your information with the general public, that makes a really big difference about what the people can actually see and what you are sharing with them about the pandemic. And now, about the pandemic and the situation that we are, there are multiple channels to do this, including TikTok, for example, to communicate science, YouTube, or personal blog to communicate this kind of information that is going to be so helpful for people that have maybe not access to that kind of information.
Good point, but I only have a question in this point. So you are like encouraging that the people share information, reliable information, but what are the basis to define? Because maybe the people find information from trustful websites or trustful sources, and it is not completely true, because we saw many other information and many like theories about, for example, this treatment with chlorine, and all these kind of things that are not completely proved. I'm not saying that it's good or bad, I don't know, but it's not my field. But the point here is how to define and how to discern, and basically with you as a young, because you as a youngster, we have a lot of, as you mentioned, a lot of social media accounts in different ways, such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. There is a lot of things. So how, in an easy way, how do you think will be the best and the most easy way to define, like, okay, this is like certain and reliable information, and it is not completely true? Because many things, maybe you as scientists have these ideas about and this knowledge, but youngsters, like teenagers that are starting, what is the advice that you can give to them? And let's go to Najla, sorry.
Okay, I'm one of the person who don't believe at all in social media or social media information. So my information, if I get my information, is from, as a medical doctor, from Medscape, from a Medscape platform, from UpToDate platform, from WHO. There is another research and articles that published on PubMed website and Cochrane. So if I will talk about teenagers, teenagers also they don't have an interest in those medical websites, as they also range from 14 to 18, from 12 to 18 years old. So I think there must be an account on social media such as Facebook, Instagram, who are specialists to provide reliable information. Maybe if we are talking about UpToDate website, which is an evidence-based medicine website. If UpToDate they already have an account on all social media and provide information, but in some way, these informations are medical. So in my opinion, if UpToDate create another account that provide information for community. This, I think, in my opinion, will be perfect. Another way, I'm not a fan of social media at all, and also I don't trust at any information published on social media.
Perfect. What do you think, Pedro?
I do agree with something that one of my peers said before about having this website that could allow us to find a good source of information. But we know that differences between political thoughts in countries may affect this website. I think that this is a mission for us as scientists because something that we have in common as scientists and young is that we are not here pushed. All of us, I know that we are here because we love science. We decided to be scientists to give like the true word of what it is. So I think this website could be a great idea, but it should be led not by politicals, not by other figures, but scientists from this country, like encouraging people to believe in good source information.
Perfect. Well, let's go to Juan and we move to another question because we are in time. It's really amazing how the time is going so fast. But well, let's go to hear Juan.
Yes, one thing that I would like to share is about the information. It's for example an article that was shared some time ago named Syllogy City COVID-19 outbreak linked to Subat consumption. If you are related to anime, you will realize that Subat is an anime character, a series of a series called Pokemon. So back into the first question, when the people have to have this in mind, that how we can actually know if something is true or not. Something that was done here in Mexico, for example, promoted by social media and especially Facebook, was creating some pages that actually verify that information and share it to the community. For people who maybe do not read a scientific articles, for example, that is the case of many people. And it was so made by infographics and many other resources that were so visual for the people that they can actually understand the information. And something that I would like to share to final to summarize my participation is that the social media has always this power to make something bigger or smaller. That is completely true. But in the cases of this pandemic, we learn a lot about how to share that information with other people, especially was the case for Twitter. Many researchers, many scientists were sharing the information in Twitter, and it was creating a debate in many countries and many fields that was actually enrichment the fields and the topic and the point of view. So using the social media in a favor to communicate science is actually something that we must do to communicate our results or to communicate just the information that we can trust on.
Perfect. Well, yeah, it's a huge challenge and a huge responsibility that all of you are taking as promoters and speakers of science information to your colleagues or to your community. So it's a good challenge. So let's move a little bit forward because, as we mentioned also in the facts, we talk about the PTSD. So my question is related on, in terms of PTSD, have you personally experienced symptoms? And if you have feel it and you have experienced this anxiety or depression or furious, many symptoms, how you have dealt with that? So could you start with Riska?
Okay, thank you. Honestly, in my opinion, I feel this in myself. Why? Because for almost 1 year, we were forced to remain silent at home, doing various activities at the home without greeting with friends or distant family. And for the example, my college activities for now are forced to go online to maintain safety together, and this is quite stressful. Maybe because we are struggling with ourselves and lack of entertainment from the outside environment. Even adults can experience things like this, especially the age of children who are this still accustomed to playing in the outside environment. Freely will definitely feel confined and bored with this condition, which require them to quarantine so that this condition cannot be avoided can cause stress. What I can do personally is look for personal enjoyment. For the example, by the watching movies on YouTube, doing activities at home such as exercising, uh, cook, cooking, or farming. And in my opinion, that can relieve the level of stress we experience. Thank you.
Thanks, Riska. Yeah, have you feel the same, or have you experienced the same symptoms? Let's move to Pedro.
Well, yes, kind of. Of course, especially at the beginning of the pandemics, when here in Colombia we were into the lockdown, and I said, okay, it is here. It is not in other countries only. It is here also. I felt very stressed, and I needed to cope with it as soon as possible because, I started like looking for statistical studies. I started looking for the problems and the economics. So I started getting really stressed. And one thing that I did to cope with it was to say, okay, calm down. You need to trust your colleagues. You need to trust science in this moment. This is the best thing you can do. And that I got relief with that. And now I see that it's been good. Now we have a vaccination coming. Now we have treatments, and we have coped with it. So I dealt with it really good. Thank you.
Okay. And well, just to close a little bit this question, because we are moving to the time, let's go to Diane. Diane, what do you think and what do you feel about this one?
Thank you very much. Yes, so in Indonesia itself, the governments have introduced distance learning programs to allow students to study at home. The problem is because of the suddenness of the outbreak, an online learning system was implemented on a massive scale without, like the adequate testing and preparation in terms of infrastructure, such as computers, smartphones, and other devices, and also the internet speeds, as well as the human capacity, both of teachers and students are to carry out online learning. So it is very hard to maintain with that. And another major challenge with online learning is the digital device, which is reverse to unequal access to the technology, both to the device and internet access between communities. And in here, there are a lot of students that have so complained about the online system, and I saw many of my friends, especially from rural areas, experience depressed because of the online learning itself. For example, they cannot get the good signal, or they still hard to operate their devices. Um, Another thing is in my society, they think that there's no such thing like mental health or stuff like that. It is not something that's really important to discuss about, because mental health is something that you just cannot observe it physically, right? So and I think to deal with that problem, parents, teacher, even the government needs to support these children, not just physically, but also the mentally. And fortunately, I never experienced the PTSD symptoms, and I really can deal with the pandemic um, because my parents really supports me, and also I really fast to adapt with this kind of environment. And I think this is a chance for me to improve myself, my self development, like like my favorite quote, what Albert Einstein said, that in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. So um, I use my time productively to join seminar, conference, and competition also, even if it's convert to a virtual meeting, but it's totally okay. And if I miss my friends, I will call them and talking about fun things. And also, I think it's really, really vital to always communicate with your family's member and having fun with them. So yes, that's all from me.
Perfect. Well, it's a good way of facing the situation and moving forward. But I'm pretty sure that not all people think the same, or all people feel the same, or are focused on moving forward. So, well, guys, I don't know if someone wants to share a little bit, just like 1 minute, in order to go directly to the conclusions, or if all of you agree, we can move forward to conclusions. Nobody. Okay, Juan, raise the hand, please. Give us your opinion, and after that, we will move into the conclusion section. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, and I'm completely agree with Diane. Many things that we are saying is that if you are not busy enough, you will have time to think what is in your head, and then you will get depressed. That is something really common to say when people is sharing their feelings with others. So in my personal opinion, when I had the opportunity to read about articles talking about the COVID-19 and medical articles talking about this, I started to get really anxious because the information was that it's going to affect your lungs and then your brain and then many other things in your body. So what I did to don't start to stress so much about this was to take a breath from work. That is something that I personally advise a lot. Take a walk if you can, and talk to a friend if you can too. But more importantly, look for help to your mental health, because it's something that crucial in these times. And that will be all.
Perfect. So the advice is not just focus in the virus, it's just also focus in our mental health, because this is the base of everything. So, well, guys, so just for the audience to know, in this moment we will start a 3 minutes like break for all our ambassadors to start thinking their conclusions, like checking the risk and benefits that we have talked about in this moment and in this debate, and to make proposals. So let's come back in a few minutes. So welcome back, dear audience. We have had a break in order that all of our ambassadors have time to think of the best conclusion possible for each one. And well, just like a resume or a summary of what we talk about. We have talked about how science is important in the role of to stop this pandemic or any other disease. But the information, it's really important to be reliable and to be communicated in the best ways and in the better forms. And I think that something that we are being witnessing in the real time is this unprecedented collaboration that scientists from all around the world have been doing to to pursue the common goal, and this common goal is to end this pandemic. So let's start with these conclusions of all our ambassadors. I will give the microphone to all of you, and you will have 3 minutes, no more, because due to the time, my dears. So I will want that you conclude your give us your conclusion based on all what we talked today, and give us one proposal, the best one that you have, in order to invent a new world better after this pandemic. So let's start with Nashla, if you want, please.
Welcome back. In conclusion, in my opinion, we had some a good progress in controlling COVID-19 pandemic globally, and hoping that the vaccine that will expected to provided in the next year will go well with the community and general population. As we all know, vaccination can decrease from 2 to 3 millions deaths annually. So this is a bright sign in this area. This is my conclusion. I'm going to provide my proposal. I'm actually one of the fans of telemedicine. If we developing an online application, online platform, online websites to our people, or even to provide an online consultation for people from their home, this will decrease the load on the hospitals. And by the way, by this, we can provide the medical services for whom who deserve that. And this shouldn't be on the case of pandemic. I think this will this would be provided or applicable at even in case of pandemic or other than in normal life. This actually, I think, will provide will save the medical supplies and decrease the load on hospitals, and vice versa. There is also this about telemedicine and online application. Another thing that already discussed in this session is about a social media account that provide evidence-based information for general population, especially teenagers, because we know the social media is an important part of their lives. So social media accounts that provide medical and evidence-based information is really, really important, that we would and we have to working on. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, Nashla, because your contribution has been amazing. Let's move to Rizka, please. We want to hear your conclusion, my dear.
Okay, thank you. The coronavirus pandemic has indeed caused a lot of harm to the humans, But in fact, there are advantages that we get with this kind of conditions as technology and science are developing rapidly today because we inevitably have to carry out various studies to overcome various problems related to this virus corona. Uh, all, as, all aspects such as government, research, academic community must be willing to work together to carry out various research. With the research based on science, it will change our conditions to be free from coronavirus. I'm sure that as long as we want to study and dig up reliable information related to this coronavirus, I think we will immediately break the chance of spreading this coronavirus. For my proposal that I want to explain, I have an idea for the world, and I really want to make it happen in research with my team and my lectures, namely making a tool to determine the level of sterility of objects or rooms from the coronavirus because remembering this virus can spread and stick to various media that we have. Without realizing it, it becomes an intermediary for the entry of viruses into our bodies. By knowing that the objects or room around us is sterile or not, we can prevent the coronavirus from entering the body so that it can indirectly reduce the spread of corona in the world. Thank you.
Thanks to you, Rizka. It has been really, really a pleasure. Let's move to the Latin American, starting with Colombia. Pedro, it's your turn.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, first I'd like to mention mention the three top heroes during the pandemics. Of course, as humankind, we have had to deal with it together, but definitely I could mention three heroes that are scientists, of course, first of all, because they are working in solving this humankind. Second, teachers, because they have to deal now with online education, and this is really hard. Used to this online study. And third, mental health, physicians, psychologists, and psychiatrists. They are estimated so many for a long time, but now we are seeing that it is a very concerning stuff, and they are the best to help us. So my conclusion would be that we need to fund more science and educate, because for sure we do not know if we are going to face a situation like this now on. We do not know it's going to be the only time, so we need to be ready and we need to be one step forward for the next time in case it happens.
Okay, Pedro, thanks so much for your contributions. Were very interesting to share the table with you. So let's move, returning to Indonesia. Let's move to Diane in order to know your conclusion, my dear. Please.
Okay, so my first proposal is about policymakers and chief science advisors must therefore be able to tap into a wide range of science and technology advice from both within and outside governments. When scientific advice is solicited, it is important to make such advice public in an open and transparent way. Otherwise, public trust in both science and governments risk being eroded. Second of all, is my second proposal is about the current pandemic has shown us the importance of implementing the public health. And sometimes public health, especially in the developing country, is not become a top priority in the community. Government regulation mainly discuss about how to cure a disease and how to treat a disease, not to prevent the disease itself. And I'd like to emphasize for better regulation in terms of public health and the effort on preventing of disease, so we can have a strong health system. um, another crucial way to minimize pandemic is to regulate the wildlife trade and trafficking. And because this is not just this is not just individual problem nor a community problem, we need to collaborate with every sectors in every country in the world. Um, as I said before, the pandemic is not just individual problem, not just a community problem. It's our problem as a whole. So every choice that we made is crucial. It's really important to end this pandemic, and it is our choice. It is all about our choice. It is our choice to wear a mask in public places and implement the public health. And I would like to encourage people who still not even care about the COVID-19. If we really want to back to the offline life and gather with our friend again, we need to listen to the scientists and implement public health in everyday life. And I'm very proud to propose. Thank you.
Thanks to you, Diane. Was a pleasure also to hear all of your comments and opinions. So just to close it, we will move to Juan from Mexico. Could you let us know your comments, please?
Yes, and to summarize, as medical and scientist students, we have a responsibility to the society to communicate better representation of scientific information, always being kind, patient, and honest to the people who is part of our society. One thing that we can do to promote this scientific divulgation is to create resources such as infographic or videos to talk about the facts that are first exposed in scientific articles. This will create a good perspective in people that science is not just research, it's actually creating bridges and collaboration with all of us. And that will be all. Thank you.
Thanks to Juan, because it's amazing. Well, guys, by my side, I only want to say thank you, because I think that the time runs so fast, and for me it was enjoyable completely this table, because I learned a lot of you. And the most important thing that I saw is that all of you are well prepared youngsters that are pretty in line and following the instructions that our authorities, not talking about government, it's about science, are leading us. So it was a pleasure. And in this moment, I give the mic to my colleague Liz in order to close this table. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you very much, Bere. Thank you, guys. I am very glad to hear all of these young scientists. And well, first of all, I would like to give a big thank you to our dear Mr. Dries Loradi, Milset Africa President, for all his support during these debate tables. Thank you very much, Dries. We really love you very much, and thank for all your support. And well, of course, we have a lot of greetings to these young scientists. I'm sure we all were amazed listening all what they have to say. And also I heard a lot of possible collaboration between them with common projects that they have to communicate science in a correct way. So I would like to give you guys all the greetings from the people who are watching from United Kingdom, United Arab Emirates, Palestine, Chile, Mexico, Colombia. A lot of fans from Mexico and Colombia, I have to say, on Facebook for these guys. South Africa, Canada, Indonesia, Belgium, Holland, Ireland, Russia, and more countries that are watching you. I hope this helps everybody, all the community, all the world community, because we are one community. Well, follow this example of these young scientists. And well, for all our audience, thank you very much for watching, for our authorities too. And we invite you tomorrow to our last debate session. Please follow us on social media to check your schedules, the schedule on your country. We will be talking about digital lifestyle to close with this YCC debate sessions. Thank you very much to all of you. And of course, thank you to my colleagues, Bere, Jose, who is behind the scenes managing all this streaming. Thank you, Jose. And well, thank you very much to everybody. And please, everybody, guys, say bye to the audience. Bye-bye.